And so glad to have you back with us. We have driven from Swindon up to Derbyshire. We have driven from Derbyshire up to Scarborough. We have got onto the pitch. Now it's time to go out and about. And so let's make a start with the hour drive to Whitby. Now upon entering, we ignore all the car park full signs and just carry on to the main harbour and hope to goodness that we manage to find a car parking space. And would you believe it, if Lady Luck is not on our side, we do find one. Look at that. Well, here we are in sunny Whitby, and come here early, which we didn't do.
Yeah, and it's now Sunday, 2:30, and it's chock-a-block.
Chock-a-block. That up there is the Abbey.
Yeah, looks like it.
But we'll take a wander in town and see what there is. Are you ready? Seems I startled that goose on the way up. Well, what would life be like if it didn't come to Whitby and have some fish and chips? You get it on a boat. Quite a few other establishments if you don't fancy a boat. And no doubt freshly caught this morning, judging by all the trawlers and small fishing boats we're seeing.
So, Steve, I thought we might charge you a fishing boat and go fishing. You know, I'm not keen on fishing, but I know you like it, so what about this one?
You can charter. I think it's a bit of a fixer-upper, do you not think?
Certainly the seagulls seem to like it.
Yeah, maybe not. Let's just carry on down the road, shall we? Now, even at this time of day, things are really, really busy, but there's this interesting bit in the shop. Look. What do you think, lad? Shall I get this?
Not if you want to live for the rest of the holiday.
That'll be no then. Ooh, is that a couple of lighthouses? Maybe a harbour entrance, perhaps? And as we make our way down, it is, look. Well, we have made it to the very end of the pier, and in the distance there is the Abbey. I'm having to come around this. It's quite a big bay and a beach as well. But enough of that. Food, hunger pangs are already starting. Now, we went to this Magpie Cafe. Now, one of the reasons for it is this. One of the finest fish restaurants in North Yorkshire. We'll try some of that. And can you see that bit about the queue outside? If you peek in the door here, you can see a queue and people waiting. But anyway, when we got there, we had to wait outside as well. So underneath the flowers, there is a plaque. And next to that, a big queue as we wait to get in. So we've just been in here having had fish and chips, because why not when you come to Whitby? In fact, it wasn't chips, was it? It was what did you have?
Yeah, I had minestrone soup, which was like a mass of vegetables with a bit of sauce. And then I had scampi and chips, and I have to say it's the best scampi I've ever had. And I love scampi. And you had seafood curry, which looked okay if you like seafood, which I don't, but it looked okay for you.
Fantastic though.
Yeah.
Well recommended. Now clearly a fit and fine young man like myself needs to keep himself in trim, so we do that by taking a nice walk. And just like everything else here, we decide to go and follow the crowd because they all seem to be heading one direction. And if you want to, you can wander up to that Abbey and take a look for yourself. Or alternatively, take back some hefty slabs of flapjack back. Guess what we did? Yeah, Fiona. I was going to say, spot the lonely car.
Yeah.
There's Billy No Mates over there on his own.
Wasn't like that when we arrived there, was it?
No. And you could tell part next to me was a rather large thing. It wasn't parked very straight, neither was I, and then knock-on effect to everybody else. Yeah. Now, our next trip takes us the relatively short distance of only 10 minutes in the car. However, this ends up being aborted. If only that were true.
We're here.
We are here.
Where's here?
We're at Filey bus station, as it says on this big sign across here.
Yeah, I can't see that though. I'm just looking at you. But the truth is, we did try to come there the other day, didn't we?
We did, and it was a nice sunny day, just like today.
It was
actually quite warm.
Yeah, it was lunchtime-ish, which was a big mistake.
And there was absolutely nowhere to park.
It was absolutely rammed. So we've given up and come by bus.
Yes, indeed.
Which is like £8 return for the both of us.
Which is a lot easier.
Yeah. And they got lovely flowers. The thing is, when you come by bus, you have no choice but to really walk around a place, which is exactly what we did. Now, Filey is full of flowers, and I always notice flowers. And if you go down the main drag in the shops, you'll soon come across this really pretty memorial garden dedicated, I think, to the war lost, with those lovely statues inside. So we had a little muchette around there, then went shopping. And then I found my house. I didn't know I'd lost it, of course, but I found it anyway. And even better, revenge on Steve, I saw this sign. And I have to say, I think there's a ring of truth to it.
That's finally, it's quite nice because these are all unknown shops. Although the seagulls seem to be just as loud. And oh look, there's the sea. And a clue. Is it that way then?
This way.
I'm not saying anything really apart from mobility scooters, walkers, you name it. They all seem to be here. But they won't come down the steps, will they? So we'll go this way.
And as we take these steps and meander down towards the sea, you get these little glimpses of how gorgeous it is on the seafront. And very soon, there you are.
Now this is a true horseshoe cove. It looks like there's a beach over there. There's nothing along here, look. There's some paddleboarders there, look, and what looks like another beach down there. But horseshoe. Absolutely mill pondish. The all-seeing eye. But it's a bin. Very clever. A seal bin. There's a bit of a sailing club at this end of it. And some crazy golfers if you're into that. Oh, by the way, there are gents' toilets down there. Oh, toilets. But they are chargeable. And then right down the other end, there's a private beach club. Well, not private beach, probably beach, but you know, it's a beach.
Stony. It's all
stony though, and yeah, no sand. Then you got your usual amusements. And so for us, it's time to head back up. More steps, of course. But there is a rewarding view. But on the other hand, there is this pub, which, well, it was a pub, not now, but we do find one suitable that does have food. And we get to try the other favourite, mushy peas and gravy. Bring it on. But that's it for us. Back to the bus station. Quite like Filey.
One of our plans on this trip was to go to the city of York. I've only ever been there once in my life, and we will always try and find a park and ride. And this one actually had an EV station. Once we're in the city, we will often then find a hop-on, hop-off bus, so we can have a tour and see what the main landmarks are and get a feel for the place. And that's exactly what we did here. Now, York is just steeped in history. In a sense, it's a little bit like the city of Bath or the city of Rome that we've been in, where around every corner there's an historic building, a historic story, a bit of both. It could be Roman, it could be Georgian, it could be ancient, it could be the station. And then we found the river. And that's rather interesting in York, rather like Bruges and Brussels earlier in the year. It has a river that runs all the way through it, and as you can see, you can take boat trips, which is something Steve and I do like to do if we've got the time. And then there's all the shopping areas, various churches and museums and libraries and bridges, and also gateways around York, so I guess it was a walled city at one time, but you do find out all about that information when you listen to the guided talk on the bus.
And as you can see on here, this is every 15 minutes.
And now for one of my favourite pastimes, shopping. And the most famous area in York city centre for this is called the Shambles. It's really oldie worldy, and there's a real Harry Potter vibe as well. And it was lovely to look at all these independent shops, all these little cobbled hidden streets. It was packed though, really, really busy. But we did come across a market. Added bonus, really love markets. Had a good wander around there to see what was there. Sure, we bought some rubbish. And then a lot of street entertainment. There's also more modern shops, as you can see with what we called the Umbrella Street, leading there in that area to a Viking museum.
Look at the queue. But it doesn't stop. Some more shoe leather gets used. But it's not the usual shop, so we don't mind. Now, you never consider a library, do you? But look at the building this one's in. But we are on a mission and have a date with the boat.
Okay, so if you do like we did and you buy tickets on the app, there's a small saving. It was £27 each, and that covers your hop on, hop off bus and a river cruise. But don't be fooled, because the branding is different. So it's all very red for the bus and all very blue for the cruise.
You do this all online.
Yeah.
And you have to have somewhere with decent internet to be able to download a voucher first, which both these companies scan. But they're partnered with each other, so it is slightly cheaper to do that, yes.
Yeah, but yeah, if you haven't got connectivity, just buy tickets and get to the boat. And if you look at these buildings, you can see there are cats on the windowsill. They're not real, they are sculptures. And cats are a thing in York, and in fact in this area, along with Dracula and goths.
Ooh, that's warm, that is.
Yeah.
But we're just behind the harbour where you get on the boat trips. But that was all right, wasn't it? Having an ice cream as you do.
It was lovely. I mean, we've been very lucky with the weather this first week. It's been boiling, which meant you were quite exposed on the boat trip, so be aware of that.
Yes.
We had sun cream, luckily. But I saw a kingfisher.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Both ways, but could not catch it on camera. It's just so fast.
And now we'll just do York Minster. I think that's it for today.
Go for the day.
And then we'll come back tomorrow to do day 2. The weather apparently is supposed to be quite naff tonight and quite bad tomorrow, so we'll see. We'll be doing all the museum bits then, doing all indoors as we do. Luckily for us, a short walk. That's not the same bus, by the way, but you can see the Minster in the background and quite grand on the face of it. Looks like there's a lot of missing statues as well. Well, £36 to walk around the church. Maybe not. And so that's exactly what we do. We just wander around it and save ourselves a lot of money. Well, we just got off of that bus. It was quite wet this morning when we left it. By the time we got to York though. Sorry, this is York day 2.
Yeah.
So I think you might be overkill dressed in your coat.
Yeah, but it's been pouring with rain all night, and it was raining this morning for most of the drive, so I didn't quite know which way to go. So I might have to get my bag out and put my coat in it eventually.
Okay.
I have put my sunglasses in my pocket though.
So this would be museum day then. So our first port of call is to walk through there to a pub. Sounds a bit weird, but in the pub they've actually got a museum underneath it.
Now, please don't think it's like the Roman baths in the city of Bath. This is a small excavation. It costs about £3 to get in. This is the hypercaust, and it's part, they know, of a big Roman city under York, and this is the only bit so far that's been exposed. We quite liked the unusual loo paper.
Well, yes, I mean, look at that loo. Interesting job. Perhaps you need to do some scraping. But then, as you say, the loo paper. Look at that. Sticks. I wonder whose job it was to clean them. And you've also got the impressions of shoe marks in bits of clay. I mean, just look at that. But when all's said and done, it is still a pub. And when you come back upstairs, right, they might have made it look a bit Romanish. I suppose you could go to the bar. But we're not going in here. We've done that bit already. So we're on our way to another museum.
We went on to encounter some furry friends.
As for museums go, this one was actually pretty good. Obviously it takes you right the way through the history, all the way back from the dinosaurs, which was really good, and some clever animation stuff. One of which I hope I don't get any copyright for. Cool, eh? Anyway, the second part of it, which I'll greatly cut down, is a view of what York used to look like, followed by a sight of all the trinkets and gadgets through all the different phases. Now naturally King Henry VIII came to the city and we actually got to sit in his chair. But as museums go, this is actually quite a decent one and a very reasonable admission price as well. And so, getting our trusty map out that we got on the sightseeing bus, Fiona's going to tell you all about that round house that we saw on the bus.
Yeah, this is Clifford's Tower, a building on the top of the hill with a very confusing pricing structure.
Now, whilst we stopped for lunch, we just had a look on their website.
Yeah.
And you can buy the tickets here for £8.60, can't you?
Yeah.
But you have to do it the day before you're coming.
By 8:45 AM on the day of your visit.
8:45 in the morning you
Yes.
can do it up to. Okay. Otherwise you're going to be paying these fees.
But also, if you have a look, we charge different prices on different days.
How much is it? No idea.
Yeah, and also they put an additional 25p, you know, there. But they ask also when you get there if you want to pay more.
Yeah.
So you know there are
big
hidden
upsell
costs with this. Yeah.
And so we pay the money and in we go. Now what English Heritage have done is put in some walkways so you can actually get to the roof and see them spectacular views. Oh, it says mind your head. Not as much worried about my head as my feet. Up or down, dude? Up, I think. Look at this, the King's Chapel. Well, it's not very big.
No, but if you look at these bricks here.
All right.
Okay, these little red bricks, they are traditional Tudor bricks, actually, at the time of Henry VIII, yeah.
You're making this up, aren't you?
Yes, I am entirely making it up. They are quite little for bricks though. If you look at them.
Little holes and yeah. Okay. I think the fire extinguishers are modern though. Health and safety. There's a pigeon with a view. And what view?
Yeah.
And then as we brake cover, let's see. Ooh. I presume that looks over and down, does it? Back down and in. Yeah. If I have a look down below, bit of a nice green to go with this on the entrance to the car park. Now if you are driving and not taking the park and ride bus, which has got a few spaces if you know where you're going, I suppose. And they do have these little board things here that tells you what's going on and what you can see. Yeah, lovely. But nice benches, just somewhere nice to sit down and have a rest, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very hot today though. Very hot here.
It is now. So we're up. It's not that busy up here either. And right behind you, I can see York Minster.
Yeah, we did think about going there, but we didn't think it was worth £18 each to look at a church. And now it's time to begin the long climb down. And on the way out, I was asked to complete a short survey. 4 hours later, we were able to leave and head off down those steep steps to our next destination.
Well, the next stop for us is to go back to the site where we begin the task of collapsing everything back and putting it all away, ready to hit the road tomorrow. The site itself is pretty good, I have to say. Pitch is certainly big enough. It's fairly level and flat. It's got all the kit we need. But as you know, we're one of these out and about people, and if you were kind of stuck on here on the site, you're at the mercy of buses. And peak time, they were quite busy. I mean, once we've already been told we're going to have to catch the next one because it was chocker, and you had to stand up on one of them as well.
Yeah, I don't mind the buses so much, but the reality is this site has no facilities for a big site, i.e. the bathroom facilities and all that are good, laundry, really, but there's no swimming pool and there's nowhere to eat. They've got this like bar thing, not a bar, a sort of a pop-up trailer.
Kebab shop.
Yeah, which only opens for like an hour and a half in the morning, so it's not really any good to man or beast.
Yeah.
So they make more money by having those facilities, especially as it's a site with lots of children.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Scarborough then, Steve?
I thought Scarborough itself was alright. It's a bit Blackpool-ish and in certain parts of it, which is not really our game as such, but you know, the rest of it is quite nice, and you can walk. It's quite nice to walk around. I think on the day we went, it was really hot. So it's a good job they have seafront buses, so you can just hop on those and get back, which is what we did.
Yeah. There are not long stretches of sand. There are small bits of sand and it's very rocky. So the bits of sand that are really busy, aren't they, Steve? So if you're sort of sit on the beach type, you are going to be cheek by jowl with loads of other people. Yeah,
well, exactly. And now I like me paddle boarding, but you couldn't use the beach close to here because it is more or less a cliff. So I mean, there is a path down to it, but there's no way you can take the paddleboard down there, all blown up and ready to go. You would, you know, be knackered by the time you get back up again.
Yeah, that's right.
So that meant that having to go to Scarborough to go on the little beach down there, which is all right.
Yeah, so we're on to our next adventure, heading over to the Lake District.
Yes, so let's get hooked up and go. Luckily, I have a reversing camera on the actual car, so I can see the actual hitch itself. And after checking the Alco ATC, it's green, so we're all good to go.
And without further ado, we'll soon be sharing the next leg of our holiday with you. So please don't forget to like,
subscribe,
and hit that little bell. See you soon.
Take care.